now. Excuse me, Dr. Francis. I just want to do a quick mic check. I apologize.
Okay.
Okay, chat, can you all give me a quick mic check? Can everybody hear me okay down there?
Everybody.
Can you all hear us okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, here we go. One second. All right, so like I was saying, I've been a content creator for about 3 years over here on YouTube. And, in order for me to deliver my content thoroughly about certain situations, I have to research and I also have to observe. And in doing that, I've witnessed a lot of different things, okay, a lot of different behaviors. And I'm convinced that, there's just a lot of undiagnosed people out here in the world, okay? And not just in reality TV or celebrity in the celebrity world or whatever, but right here on YouTube as well. And I want to talk about some of those behaviors and just get your take on them. And the first thing that I'd like to get into with you, Dr. Kit, is relationships. I feel like once I truly learned what a narcissist was, I realized that I had been dealing with one for several years, as well as a lot of folks here on YouTube, because we've had conversations about it. Okay. So I've been dealing with one for several years, okay. Like I said, I've also witnessed other women dealing with narcissistic men. And I want to address narcissistic men because I feel like there are a lot of them out here destroying lives. That's how I feel that they operate. They come to destroy. Okay. In my opinion, a narcissist is the worst type of man to be involved with because I just feel like they are capable of destroying your spirit, okay? And will leave you in such a state to where you don't even recognize yourself anymore. And if you happen to get out of that relationship, you will find yourself having to recover, like seriously. And that's not always the easiest, the recovery process. Women who deal with narcissists, okay, and finally take the necessary steps to get rid of that narcissist, I feel like they end up needing intense therapy because that man has done so much damage. Okay. And you don't even realize how much damage he's done until, like, it's over. So I would like to share my understanding of what I believe a narcissist is. And you can correct me if I'm wrong. So a narcissist, by definition, is someone with an inflated sense of self, feel that they are just, so important. And we all should feel like we're important. I get that part, but their sense of importance is abnormal, in my opinion. Okay. They lack empathy for others and they're known to manipulate. Okay. Whatever it takes to get what they want.
Mm-hmm.
They're all about pleasing themselves. They believe that they are superior to others and they're very controlling and they have no regard whatsoever for boundaries. Okay. Um, they're never at fault. It's always somebody else's fault. The finger is always pointing to someone else. And it's just, I would say that that's a lack of accountability. And they're also very critical of you, love to put you down so that your self esteem is in a gutter. Okay. This is my understanding of it. Um, I used to feel like those kind of men loved weak women. Okay. Women with low self esteem because they're easier to abuse. But now I feel like they like to go after confident women because they get pleasure in trying to break them down. Okay. That's why I said that when a narcissist gets done with you, you won't even be able to recognize yourself. Okay. Um, I just feel like you'll be mentally gone and he will be somewhere already moved on to his next victim. Okay. These type of guys like to mask who they are. So I feel like it's important to, take your time and get to know who you're dealing with because once you become entangled with the narcissist, it's not the easiest getting out of that situation. And if you should ever get out of that entanglement, it's like, don't let you all have kids because once he loses access or control of you, he will then use the children to gain that control back. Okay, even try to turn the children against you, which is called parental alienation. Okay, So he becomes a never-ending nightmare. So if you don't mind, can you just share your take on a narcissistic men, okay? And if you have any advice for women who are involved with those type of men or are in the recovery stage, okay? If you can share that, I would appreciate it.
Okay. Um, yeah, you did a real good job in, defining what a narcissist is, or who
Hmm.
a narcissist is. I think you hit all the main points.
Hmm.
One of the things, so I'm going to throw a couple of things inside of here right now.
Okay.
I think the way narcissists are defined,
Hmm.
there might be a question of culture
Hmm.
in this. How do some men behave, not because they're trying to inflate their ego, but because they were acculturated to be like that, to act like that? One of the things about research is that research never talk to everybody, but they've got to set up their research so there's generalizability. You've got to be able to generalize this, and there is certain amount of accuracy that's lost in this generalizability that they look for, that they work with. So so I think that's one of the things that we have to be careful about, so that when a man might be acting in the typical narcissistic way, the way we understand it in this culture, a person from another culture may just be acting that way because that's what they know.
Hmm.
Having said all of that, it does not take away from the fact that a narcissist can malign a person to the point where the person lose a sense of who they are. You ask them, well,
Yes.
who am I? And they define themselves not by who they are, but by what they have. So in other words, they go out and get things that they can use to create this facade about who they are. And I call that the veneer complex.
Hmm.
We all have, office desks. You go to any of these office places, you buy these nice looking maroon kind of tables and desks and so on and so forth. And what you're really looking at is the veneer on top, because under all of that is this mechanized press board that is just not good to look at. So they cover that to hide the real piece of what the furniture is. And I'm saying that to say that sometimes we can get caught up in the veneer complex. But the way you defined it and you described it, I think we have gone past the veneer complex to say, who is this person? And what is it about this person that's making this person behave this way? What do they want, not out of life, but what do they want for themselves? That if they don't behave this way, they can't get what they want out of life. And so yeah, there are those that they call closeted narcissists. Okay.
Okay.
So a closeted narcissist is a person who is a narcissist, but he acts out in a different way, because that's one way to make sure that they don't know who you are from right up front, especially when you get into relationships. You can have a closet narcissist. He's in the closet, but
Mhm.
he's acting like he's Mr. Cool.
Yeah.
And what he will do is to treat the woman like a lady, do all the right things, say all the right things, until he come to realize that this person has bought into not his behavior, but they have bought into him, the person.
Dr. Francis, for the closeted narcissist
Yes.
person, um, so because if you enter into a relationship, you have
Right.
no idea if he or she is like that, right?
Right.
So it's clearly a time frame because people can't keep up a facade. They can't keep that up for so long.
Right.
So what would be like a simple ground level trait that people could look for? Because sometimes it's like you could be doing something, and I feel like from what you were saying, it could be something like, oh, why are you doing that? You haven't done that before. Why are you doing that now? And it's not something that you're just doing. You're just doing something. And it's like a big deal. So could you just give us like a foundational, just a little trait, something that we could pick up on quick?
You know, I'm okay. For me, a closet narcissist is, but you know, but by the definition that I'm used to, is a person that behaves in a way that is the opposite of, the antithesis of who they are in order to gain what they need. Now, it's very difficult to tell who a closet narcissist is because they played that game so well that they don't they don't kind of shed light on who they are, because if you do, then it means that their game plan will be exposed and they can't get to their to what it is they want to get to. They cannot achieve their goal. So it's the kind of a person then who acts in a false way. And you're right. One of the ways to find out if this person is a closet narcissist is, are they able to behave this way over a long stretch of time, you know, without variance. And so the closet person will come out when they come under a lot of stress that they did not plan to come under.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. What would, because somebody in the comments said what would be triggers, and it would be stress that could bring it out.
Yeah,
okay.
They come under a lot of stress that tests their real self. This real self over here, because they have to hide that, because they know that if they come out as a narcissist, okay, they are not going to be able to get the things that they want from people. You know, because people will be running scared, and they say, no, I don't need this person. So they act completely opposite. And they're Mr. Nice Guy, Mr. You know, and they open doors, they're chivalry, they do all of these things until you come to the place where you get to understand that this person is now using me. He's using me to do what? To make sure that and he's doing it in such an underhanded way to make sure that his true self is not identified. So, you know, he'll buy you all the presents and do all the right stuff. And okay, let me put it this way. You know, a lot of us, we go fishing, right?
A lot of what?
A lot of people go fishing.
Okay.
You know, you bait your line and everything else. You throw it out there. And you know when you catch a bite, because it's going to feel this tug on there. And I was talking to this guy one time, and he said, well, he said to me, he told me he caught this fish, this huge fish. I said, how do you manage to land that fish? He said, listen, all I do is I just give them enough rope so that they can keep them running, and then I wear them out.
Ooh.
Wow.
Ooh.
When I wear them out, they have lost their capacity to fight. Because once I wear them out, okay, they are now dependent on me, and I'm in full control. I can land them. I can land them when I want to. A narcissist will give you enough rope. They will do all the good things, the right thing. That's what the closet narcissist is.
Wow.
He's not closeted because he's not a narcissist. He's closeted because he has this game that he's playing. I'm going fishing for people, and I want them to buy into me to the point where I am no longer a person that they're looking at. I am the person. And when they say that, they're the kind of person who say, man, I have found Mr. True Love. Once they start to behave like that, and they allow him to know that this is where they are,
Can I
This is
jump in really quick and
this is
ask
when
a
they come out the
question?
closet, right? They come out the closet at that point. Why? Because at that point, she is getting, she just left the door wide open.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, I
I'm
want to
gonna
jump in
pause it.
really quick and ask a question. Hi, Dr. Francis. I really appreciate you being here tonight.
Okay.
So, what is some advice that you could give to some people that are having to deal with narcissists, whether it be in their workplace, in their home, just where they can't necessarily escape just yet? What is some advice that you can give to people that kind of have to deal with those type of people on their day-to-day?
On a day-to-day basis, there is this, what we call an existential question. And the question is, who am I? Who am I? And one of the ways, the easy way that I take people through this is what I call the mirror talk. You get the mirror, and you're looking at yourself, and who is this person here? And once you come to know who you are, you will then determine what you will allow other people to do, and what you will allow yourself to do. So now you have this boundary that you put around yourself, and you know how boundaries are. It's like a door. You and I do the same thing. We all lock our doors at night to keep intruders out, right? But you do know that the corollary to that is when I lock my door, keeping people out, I'm not free to go out unless I open a door. So now when they do that, they are now, say, locking you in to who they want you to believe that you are. And you become so dependent on them because they have taken you to the place where they are fulfilling all of your needs. And once they start you feel that they're doing that, okay, you no longer have the fight. You just acquiesce and you give in to them. So yes, if you need to know if this person is a narcissist, it's going to take a long time, but you've got to put your emotional needs to the side and go into your left brain and say to yourself, what is it about this person, why this person is behaving that way? What is it about me, why I'm seeing this person this way? So coming to know who you are, that is a key piece, because once you come to know who you are and you set those boundaries, you will not allow people to permeate those boundaries and come into your territory. But if at that time you feel that this person has been treating you the way you have always wanted to be treated and nobody else is doing this, then you've just like a bad poker player, you just showed your hands. And what is he going to do? He's going to take poker.
Let me ask this too, because of that. Once they come out and they do all the love bombing, and everything that you've ever dreamed of in all of your life, and then there's a change, right? So is the game to get them right there? And what happens? Like, how can somebody just really get out of that? Because some people, like you said earlier, are dependent. When you were given the fish analogy, they're dependent on it. So how can one just how can somebody get out of it? Because I know a lot of people have dealt with it. I saw somebody in the comments talking about a husband. And sometimes, like when you see it, you just can't go right off because, as women, we try to give you a chance.
Right.
Maybe this is something happening. I don't know. He's going through something. It's work. Right. And I don't know. It just seems like sometimes it's hard to get out of.
Okay. Well, yes, sometimes it's very hard to get out of because a person. Okay, let's just say a male is a narcissist, but the women, they're kind of borderline. They're more clingy and stuff like that. Okay, so the females then may get to the point where if something happened to them in the past where they were spurned, they were hurt, they threw everything into this relationship, and the person deceived them or abandoned them, okay, and they are in pain. They're in a lot of pain or neglect and so on. If they don't take the time to grieve their loss of the relationship that they had, okay, they can just, they'll just almost go right back into another relationship, and that stops them from grieving because the other relationship is now acting like this pleasure pill for them. And as long as they're feeling good, they will continue to associate with this person. So now if they do this and they got hurt in a previous relationship or relationships, and this person comes and promised them the moon on a platter.
Okay.
And they buy and he's doing all the right things until this person give them the clue or a cue that they are all in on this relationship. That's when a lot of the abuse begins to take place.
Yes.
Doctor, I have a question for you. That being said, sorry, go ahead.
The abuse takes place, and one of the sad thing about that is that the person who is looking for all this love may say to themselves, I would rather have this than not the love that I'm receiving right now. Not knowing that they're setting themselves up for some of the greatest degree and levels of abuse, physical, emotional, spiritual, financial. They're just setting them up. And it's a kind of a person, and this is what I'm saying. You got to really, if you don't know who you are, then if you will allow yourself to go into all of these dark alleys of relationships to the point where your sense of self, okay, is now mirrored from the behavior of this person. If he's doing all this thing, then he must love me and I must be a good person. No. You need to decide, who am I? Who is this person? You decide your worth. All right. Go ahead. I'm sorry I cut somebody off there. Go ahead.
Oh, no problem. I have a couple of questions for you. So the first one is, do you feel like narcissism is due to, how do I put it, have any relation to the relationship that man had with his mother?
Okay. The relationship that a man has with his mother can come from a number of different places in his experience. One is, whatever the relationship is, if it's a protective relationship, it might come from, well, my dad was very abusive to my mom and I was too young to do anything about it. So now I'm going to protect my mom. Now this person become more clingy, more clingy and become more available to to satisfying his mother. Okay, so in doing that, I don't think that person is going to be a narcissist so much, because narcissists don't cling. It's going to be more people like you say, like a borderline personality disorder, who has a more clinging transfer. So and especially when they have early losses. All right. And when they have early losses and they have this emptiness inside of them, they will be more clingy. Now, a person, so it'll be different for the person who's more clingy than the person who treats his mother with very little respect, which is more likely to transfer onto the way he treats other women too. So we got to kind of take a look at some of these things.
Okay. And my next question is, do you feel like a narcissist is capable of change, or they just are who they are?
Uh, now,
That's a good one, True.
it is a good one, and I'm trying to figure out, you know, how to answer this because I think, you know, people can change. We know that.
Mhm.
No, are they a narcissist, but characterologically a narcissist, or are they behaving in a narcissistic way to pro, to protect the self? If they're behaving in a narcissistic way to protect the self, then the word is behavior. I am behaving this way because I need to protect myself. If they're not behaving this way, but they are like this, then it's highly unlikely that the person who is characterologically like that will change.
Mhm.
But the person now who is acting it out, they can change once they get to a place where they can find a different level of satisfaction. Now, it's going to differ from one person to the next under various circumstances about the etiology of the narcissism piece. Okay, because a narcissist is very grandiose. You know,
Yes.
they rule the world. You know,
Mhm.
everything about them is like that. So they're less likely to want to change and or will give themselves up for any kind of change. So again, I'm just going to say they're more likely to just change their behavior.
And Dr. Francis, I would like to ask you, so how is it, that you navigate as a therapist with your own mental health? Because I'm sure that can be draining, that because that you have to sit down and, I guess communicate with so many different people, take in so many different energies. How is it that you get yourself back on one accord to be able to be effective as a therapist? Because I know that a lot of people call me for advice, and sometimes that could be draining, and it could be overwhelming. And I find myself, having to take time to, just regroup and gather myself. So, just as a therapist, how do you regroup?
How do I regroup? Well, first of all, I don't internalize the client. By that, I mean, I don't let the client become a part of me at that
Mm,
level to where there is no separation between myself and knowing knowing the kind of relationship I'm supposed to be building with the client. Now, if the client is very clingy, some clients are very clingy and and they do all kinds of things, bring things for you. They do all these kind of stuff to do what? To make you a part of what one person called the auxiliary ego, to make the therapist
mm,
their auxiliary ego. You know what an auxiliary light? You're in the store, the lights go out, the auxiliary lights comes on, they stay functional. Okay, so we got to be very careful. We got to be very astute. So knowing all of these things, then I don't internalize that part of the therapist, of the client, to where I cannot make a separation between who they are and who I am, what they need, and whether or not I can provide. This way, I have a clear delineation between this is what I will do and this is what I will not do. And by the way, there are some legal implications around that too.
And thank you for even mentioning that, because we've kind of seen a therapist, coach, life coach thing, and it seems very unprofessional that a therapist would get very personal with their client in a
Right.
sense to where they can't detach. So I think that was an amazing explanation, because we've seen that and we always thought it was odd. Sorry, you guys, if you hear my cat in the background, but we always thought it was odd to see that therapist kind of lean in a more personal light rather than being a professional and
Mhm.
operating in that space.
Right.
So thank you for that.
Now, okay, can I do a follow up on that real
Oh,
quick?
absolutely. Sure, please.
The follow up that I'm going to do is this: that a therapist who is more likely to get into this inappropriate relationship with a client is probably one that they are now transferring from a person who was absent in their lives, like family member, who was a caretaker, who was absent in their lives, and they find somebody here now who is available emotionally. And so what they do is they begin this adoption process, and they begin to adopt this person into their lives. And sometimes they cross the boundary. Sometimes they cross the boundary of professionalism. So I think we've got to be very careful. I think at that point, you know, we're harming the client for our own benefit, of where now I feel like I have some worth because my client keeps telling me how well I'm doing. Well, they're coming to you. If they're telling you how well you're doing, don't be surprised. They're paying money for this. You better do the best you can. That's what they're paying you for.
Mm-hmm.
That was awesome. And then I'm sorry, I just have one more. I want to kind of venture off, because I don't know if you are, into social media, or, see the things that happen on TV, but, there has been an uproar on social media because there was a clip of this married couple, and I guess her husband was kind of, triggered he was just triggered at his traumas. And we saw his wife demonstrate a level of emotional intelligence that was admirable, whereas we saw him kind of get triggered, blame her. And he said something that was triggering to me. And I don't know if it's because of my past, which, I want to ask you questions about that as well later on. But he said, you made me do this. Don't make me act this way, or don't say that, then I wouldn't act this way, as if it was her fault. And I just want you to kind of speak on that, because I feel like that, in my opinion, is an example of a closeted narcissist, or somebody that may have narcissistic personality traits. Because I'm somebody that I've gotten angry at someone I feel like in response to that, it wasn't, well, you made me angry. It was more so, you know what? I'm sorry. I was triggered. That was out of bounds. And, I just feel like there are some differences between being triggered and, being a covert or closet narcissist.
Ooh, okay. Let me see. Where do I start with this? Well, let me just say this here, that we're all free moral agents. We are free. We can do whatever we want to do. Mm-hmm. And the reason we have so many people incarcerated is because they exercise their freedom, and then they have to pay the penalty. So when somebody, and I just say that as a kind of a cover for this entry wedge. So when a person then says, listen, you made me do this, okay, or you're making me feel this way, that is a person who has neglected to grow their sense of self and their inner self to where they can say, I decide what happens to me, what I do, when I do, how I do it, who do it to me, and all that kind of stuff. So nobody can make you feel bad. And I will go so far as to say, as far as I'm concerned, now this is just me. I didn't get this out of anybody's book. As far as I'm concerned, is this: the only time that I do not have the freedom to act upon my own will is if I am physically incapacitated. Now, all other ways of or means of exercising my will comes from, what do I want to do? What do I want out of this thing here? And there is this little word, is called the cost. If I behave this way, there is a cost to it. Okay. So when somebody said to me, listen, you made me do this, what they are doing is transferring their inability to take care of themselves onto somebody else so that they can have a victim. A person who says, you made me do it, they're really setting somebody up to be a victim if the other person don't realize that I didn't do this. I didn't make this person feel this way. Listen, and, something comes into my consciousness. And the first thing I'm going to do when it comes into my consciousness is accept that something has come into my consciousness. Then I'm going to think about it. Then I'm going to feel about it. Then I'm going to act it out. And one of the ways I act it out may be verbally by doing what? Blaming the other person for the way I am feeling right now. And that stops me from growing past the need to have a victim.
I agree. And I feel like it also stops you from facing your truths. So,
Yes.
Because I kind of want to give an example. So I am married. So there has been a time where I maybe have, lashed out, and my husband's like, okay, like, why is this affecting you in this way? Or why does this make you feel this way? And the conversation was, I feel deeply about this because this has happened in this space. And I feel as though this is something that, it triggers me because it affects me in this way that I haven't been able to move past, or et cetera, et cetera. And, I just feel like when it gets to a place in which because I feel like that person, instead of him kind of just being realistic, because I feel like, he could just say, I'm actually upset because I feel like my manhood is in question, because you ran after me. I don't necessarily want my wife to run after me. I feel like it's embarrassing. I feel like if he was to kind of just be, more transparent about his actual feelings rather than, no, I'm upset. And you know what I'm saying? It could be received better, because if I was to maybe react like that, well, you made me feel, well, I'm reacting like this because of what you did, or you said this to me. So, this is what it is. I feel like that's you running from what the actual problem is. So I asked you that question because I felt like I saw something on TV, which was interesting because that person is also a psychologist, I think, or y'all help me if I'm wrong.
Psychiatrist.
A psychiatrist. I'm sorry. Yeah, a psychiatrist. He's a psychiatrist. So I just thought that was interesting how he chose to deal with that, because I felt like, there was a lot more emotional intelligence that I felt like he should have had just in his professional, position.
Okay, let me see if I can remember the question.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
You're good. And that's good, because when we're dealing with these kind of things, there's very few times if there is a specific question, because there's this globalization of this one point, and it becomes very, very systemic. Why? Because a person's experience is like that. Okay, so when a person said, well, go after and say, well, you made me do this, or why are you doing this? Well, I discovered a long time ago that I stopped asking why questions to people. Because that's what researchers do. Why is the moon so far? Why is the moon red? Why is it raining outside? And the answer to all of those things comes from the outside, because you are investigating something from the outside. My question is, what is it about me? See, that's the question that I ask people. And so when your husband or whoever, when they say, well, you make me do this, it's because I'm doing. And the question might not be to defend yourself, but ask the question, well, what is it about you that makes you think that I'm responsible? And if they start to say, well, it's because you, then they're not answering the question. The question got to be, well, there's something about me. And when you get to the place where you can say there's something about me, you're back to center, where you are learning yourself. To talk about you is to project myself, on my unresolved issues back onto you, so I don't have to deal with who I am. You don't have to do that. And so a narcissist will do that too.
I'm sorry.
Always looking for people who are willing to be like sponge. I can put water and you know, it will just receive all of the water that I have to give. Yes, go ahead.
Could you tell us how someone could, because sometimes I feel like if you are in a relationship with a person like this and you realize that there's never going to be any resolve, that person is never going to just want to compromise or see it another way. And if it could get physical, it could just be verbal or whatever.
Right.
Could you, what could somebody, like, when should somebody start like an exit process?
When should somebody start an exit process? Well, I tell you this, for me, it comes down to, what is it about me that's making me want something out of this relationship that I don't have for myself? So I'm back to that, asking myself that question. It's my question of my emotional existence. What is it about me? You know, and sometimes it has nothing to do with the other person. It has everything to do with me. And again, I'm going to say, you know, there's a lot of variations in what to say. And I'm not saying that one answer is accurate. I'm just saying, you know, it may be circumstantial, what's going on with different people. But the exit plan here is this. Why would I want to exit if what I'm getting out of this relationship is satisfying? Even though there's another part of me that I don't, that part of this relationship that I don't like, I can convert myself and say, yeah, I can lie to myself. Yeah, he's doing all this. He, you know, is hitting me, but he's the greatest lover I know. And he takes care of me and he buys me all these things that I've wanted all my life. If I leave this man, I won't have all of these things that makes me feel that I am valuable. Now, I'm just saying that it's going to be difficult for somebody to make an exit plan. It's easier for a person to make an exit plan when they say, you know what, I don't like what's going on here.
So they just got to make it up in their mind. They just got to. Okay. Yeah. They just got to be ready. You know, okay.
I don't like what's going on here. And so I've got to leave. I've got to get out of this thing. But let me just say something, you know, kind of embellish this a little bit. You know, all of us, we come with what we call the intrapersonal self. It's who I am as an individual, right? And who I am as an individual, I have to, and both people have their intrapersonal selves. And when we come together, it becomes interpersonal. Now, if my intrapersonal self has, you know, if I feel that by myself, I don't have what I need, and I find it over here, it makes it easier for me to create an interpersonal relationship. And the more satisfying that interpersonal relationship, it's harder for me to, you know, create an exit plan. As a matter of fact, it may be so satisfying that I might even start blaming myself for all the problems. You understand what I'm
saying? No. Not blaming myself.
Oh, you'll be surprised. You would be surprised.
Oh, Jesus.
You would be surprised. Some people let the person off the hook because this way they are experiencing something that they've always wanted, but they've never had. And now that they've got it, they stay in it, black eye, broken nose,
oh my God,
whatever it is. You know, for them, that's, he loves me. And how do they equate love? It's, he is paying me attention, but look at the attention he's paying you.
Mm-hmm. I see what you mean.
So there's an exit. So the exit plan. There is no exit plan. Go right ahead.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
So, Doctor, I have another question for you. Well, one of the viewers wanted to know, do the narcissist know that he's a narcissist?
Listen.
Mm-hmm.
The narcissist know that he's a narcissist. He may not know himself as a narcissist by the word narcissist, but his egotistical behavior is demonstrative of the fact that he's a narcissist. Okay, and then when he gets to that point, he's a guy who when he shows up in the office, everything stops and everybody he requires people to look at him and, hello, how you doing? And man, I like your suit, your shoes. He likes all of these things. Yeah, they know that they're a narcissist. Why? Because they dress to attract people's attention
Ooh.
any way and every way possible. Why? Because they thrive on that. They thrive on people adulating them, giving them all of these, positive vibes, and they don't want to give it up. Because when they give it up, what's left of a narcissist when they give up their narcissism? It's going to be a shell of a person. A shell. Okay, let me put it this way. I like pistachios, and I break open the pistachio. And when I break it open and I take the pistachio nut out, what's left is a shell. There is nothing of value left inside the shell.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about. So when this person loses all of that, there's nothing but a shell left. Nothing.
I get it.
And so somebody in the comments, they asked, is there no place where someone can actually make you angry by their actions or words? And they said, I asked because I felt like I've been angry because someone made me angry.
Okay. Let me put it this way. If you feel that someone made you angry, then there are a couple of questions you've got to ask yourself. Am I so weak that I can't stop a person from doing to me what they want to do? Or is the person so powerful that I don't have a way of stopping them? That's my answer to that. It's a thought. It's a thought response. Am I so weak? If you say I'm so weak that this person, this person's hurting me and I'm so weak, then you got to say, what is it about me that's making me so weak? And if it's the other person so powerful, what can I do? Do I want to be around a person who's so powerful that they're controlling? Do I want to remain so weak, or do I want to build myself, my internal ego system, my strength piece, to where I can handle these things and not feel that other people are able to manipulate me? So what I'm saying here, what it gives that person an opportunity to do the mirror work and say, what is about me? And they begin to build themselves. If you don't like the idea that people are making you feel this way, or you're feeling this way, thinking it's the other person, then it gives you an opportunity to ask yourself, I like this. What can I do about it? What you can do is not continue telling yourself the other person is making you do that. The question is, what is it about me that's making myself not able to escape, to have an escape route from this? And when they do that, when you say this, that I don't like this, I don't like feeling this way, what can I do about this to me? That's, since I don't like
Millie, your speaker.
So, Doctor, excuse me, I have a question. So, do you feel like narcissists are truly capable of loving anybody else? Because sometimes I think they don't even love themselves, but do you think that they are truly capable of loving anybody else?
I think a narcissist will act out love towards a person in order to keep them in their camp. They will buy things, they will do all kinds of things, but that's what narcissists do. They are actors. But in terms of loving another person, they have a hard time loving themselves because they have been so traumatized that the way they deal with their trauma is to try to overpower other people with their narcissism. So therefore, the act of overpowering somebody, there is no love in that.
And that brings me to my next question. We mentioned how the narcissist, he's really grandiose. Okay. Do you feel that that's real, or that's just a mask because he has low self-esteem? You get what I'm saying?
Of course. I mean, listen, let me tell you something. Let me tell you that some people have been wearing a mask for so long, it becomes a part of who they are. You know what I'm just saying? So yet there is this mask that it is now a part of their who-ness, who they are, to the point where if they shed that mask, okay, and they're going to expose themselves. So the mask works so well for them because the mask now becomes like a shell that, like a shell that protects that very fragile internal piece. The reason why nuts have shells, it is not because it's a good idea for a nut to have a shell. It is the idea here is that it protects the valuable nut on the inside. So what a narcissist does, the word, by virtue of being a narcissist, nobody gets close to a narcissist. It ain't gonna happen. Excuse me, I said it will not happen. Why? Because if they do, they're exposing listen to this word, they are exposing their weakness. Because narcissism has no strength. None.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
And I want to talk about, I'm sorry, you guys. Do you guys have any questions?
Well, I have another one as far as the narcissist. So can you agree with me when I say that once you are strong enough to rid yourself of that narcissist, it's imperative that you do not let him back in, because he's just going to finish you off.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. But listen to this though. Narcissists don't like to lose. They don't like, I don't care what it is. They don't like to lose people. They don't like to lose people, places, or things. So when you get yourself all buffed up and to think that you're going to leave this narcissist, you're going to have a hard time leaving a narcissist, because they are going to say, my narcissism says I never lose.
My goodness.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Somebody in the
That's a lot to
comment.
unpack.
So somebody in the comments said, people uses narcissistic personality disorder without knowing how to properly diagnose just by seeing them on TV. Can you explain the testing and evaluation process according to the DSM-5?
DSM-5. The DSM 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so with the DSM, Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorder, that's what the professional people use. And so what happened? There are some characteristics and a set of behaviors that they have to demonstrate. Okay, and then it's not just necessarily by just looking at them. They go through a battery of tests, and the results of the battery of tests will normally, should, if the test is good and if the tester is good, should be able to say, is this person a narcissist? In other words, it's not, well, they did this and so they're a narcissist. It's normally something that they have to have like 2 or 3 out of so many. All right. And they're under certain circumstances. Now, the DSM-5, I think they are now considering some cultural counterplays of them to say, what, is there something about this person based on their culture that we are not looking, because the DSM-5 is basically geared towards, the majority, which is Caucasian in this country. So we take a look at that, and then people who were even born here that have not been socialized, and there are different levels of socialization, micro, meso, macro. So it's hard to tell how they are behaving in the testing. And some people who test really well, or who knows what they are looking for, they can act out in a particular way to make it happen. So, okay, let me tell you this. There's I'm going to tell on myself now. It was way back. Way back. I had to do this MMPI, Minnesota Multiphasic Inventory Test. And there was had to be about 1 million questions on this thing. I'm trying to tell you about the testing, okay? I haven't lost that. So, and then about every so many questions, they would repeat the same question. And that is called test fatigue. Because after a while, if they think that up front you are being very cognitive about your responses, after a while you get test fatigue, and you just start writing in the bubble or doing whatever you do, because you're no longer thinking about that. So those things can come into what the final analysis is for how we determine who is a narcissist. And we can miss a lot of things in that, because some people will test and they go back and retest under another set of circumstances. What's going on in my life? What have I lost? You know, what the day I'm taking a test, is this the day that I lost my best friend, or my mother died, or whatever it is, and I'm in grieving and I'm in mourning, but I got to go and take this test. All of those things will determine how you answer the program, answer the test question, and it can have it can have an impact on the outcome. So having said all of that, the testing, and sometimes they have to retest the same person just to be able to make sure that they are on the right track. So it's not just one and done and say, okay, or he's grandiose, and so therefore he must be. No, it's a lot more complex than that. The DSM-5 will make sure of that.
Okay, understood.
This is eye-opening for me, because
Yes, it is.
it is like just the idea of how, like, and you know what, do you think that they've been moving like this for so long? Of course they don't want to identify as a narcissist. Nobody wants to do that. But
Right.
this is their way of life. You know what I mean? Like, can they help themselves? Is this just what they do? I mean, like, you can meet a really nice guy, you can meet a really nice lady, and they just move crazy like this, and they have problems in relationships because they don't understand. They don't understand why their partner is not acting, the way they, the way they feel they should act, because
Right.
what's wrong with you?
Right. Well, a part of this is that we have to know this, and I think we kind of talked around this, but a narcissist is not interested in the person's emotions. That's the first thing.
Okay.
They're not interested in your emotions.
Right.
Because if they get interested in your emotions, okay, then they might fall in love with you. They may start seeing all the good things about you. How do they then transfer onto you their stuff onto you when they love you? It ain't gonna work. They just see you as an object. And that's the way they survive. Their ego system is like a rock, like boom, boom, boom. It's like a rock.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah. And so,
that's a lot. It's too much.
It is.
It's too much.
Listen. I'm so sorry, but I got to do what I got to do, how I do it.
No, I mean, get your point across. Get your point across by all means.
But yeah, if they're not like that, if they become permeable, people will infiltrate this shell that they have and discover that they are so weak, and they become vulnerable. When they become vulnerable, narcissists who become vulnerable and think that they have been infiltrated. I don't know. I think they could become really, really ugly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, you probably can't even, and then that's a shock to the person in the relationship, because you're like, what is wrong with you?
No. And sometimes the person in the relationship, they say, what is wrong with me? Now they start to derogate themselves because they didn't catch the narcissism. They were the thing about it.
Yep.
The person who's in that, they are in it because they want to satisfy their emotions.
Got it.
They want to feel good. So they're not looking at all the other qualities of this person, because this person is really good at buying all the things to deflect them away from seeing who they are.
Right.
So they got it, so that they're locked into, I want myself. Listen, a narcissist is not going to date another narcissist.
Oh, that would be diabolical.
Okay.
That would be crazy.
That would be
Oh
right,
God.
that's a fist fight right there. You know, somebody's gonna get hurt.
That's a lot.
Somebody's gonna get hurt. Okay, so let me put it this way for you. If you had like a 6 or a 1 foot very soft sponge,
Mm-hmm.
and you take an egg and you drop it on that sponge, right? That's the egg will not break. Why? Because the sponge absorbs the shock of this egg. Right?
Okay.
But if you have an egg and you drop it on the floor, wood floor, tile floor, 2 narcissists coming together like that, you're going to see fire breaking out. So what they do is they're always looking for people who is like the opposite of who they are, so that their lives can be fulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
I actually agree with that. And while we on the topic of narcissism, I've been pretty open about my experience with having a narcissist as a father. And I mean, I've always said that I'll find time to talk about it, and eventually I guess I will. I mean, now more than ever. But while you're here, I wanted to ask you, because somebody also asked this in the chat earlier, and they wanted to know, how do narcissists or narcissism affects children in these relationships? Because I've been very vocal and transparent about just my experiences and how it has affected me and my siblings and my mother and the women that have come in and out of my life that have dealt with my father and his, so yeah, so that's just my question. How does narcissism affect the children? Because I feel like that's always overlooked.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to your dad for a minute,
Mm-hmm.
and talk about, where do you get these narcissistic traits from? And we might find that he was not born with that DNA,
Right.
but the way the family system behaved, and there was something very unique about him that the family system was not tapping into. And so he might have felt lost in the family.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore, because he's feeling lost, he can go one of 2 ways. He can say, well, I ain't no good. Or he can say, I'm going to escape from this and I'm going to be the best. And so he becomes this narcissist. He was never heard. And you might be in a family, where a person who turns out to be a narcissist is the one who had the most to say, but never had the opportunity to say it. So they say, well, when I grow up, I'm gonna do all the talking. I'm gonna be the center of effort. I'm gonna be the center of attraction. I'm gonna be all of this stuff here. So yeah, so now it comes down to, does it impact the children? Absolutely, it impacts the children, because these children, especially when they're in their very infantile stage, they have a need to have someone nurture them, and you can't nurture from a distance. You nurture by touching and stroking and doing all of this stuff. Okay, now the narcissist may say, wait a minute, this is hard for me to do because no one did this to me when I was a kid, so now I can't do this to my I can't do this to my young kids. And so now if he doesn't do it, guess what? These kids now grow up to go through what I call paternal unavailability.
Oh, do you have
you
that?
know what? Well, I was about to say, what was interesting? You said something earlier in this live, and you were saying, some narcissists, they may feel like they were, they seen their parents, I guess, unprotected or go through abuse or etc. And then they grow up with this, okay, well, I don't think you said this was about narcissists, but you gave 2 different examples, but I'll just say this. And you were saying, and they grow up with this mindset, okay, well, I saw my mom or my dad go through this, or I saw my mom and my dad do this. So I, really want to protect. I feel like I have a little bit of that. Like, I feel like I've seen my mom suffer through certain things. And I also saw how my dad kind of used me to kind of get back at her. But I realized that after the fact. And, you know, as I got older, when I was an adult, and I realized how that may have really affected my mom being, you know, in that space. So when I see women, I feel go through situations that are similar to hers, I feel like I go into this super like protect, like radar. I don't know. So yeah. What do you?
You know, you're right. When you see that happening, you know, there's this one author, he calls it, you go into the rescue fantasy. You want to rescue people from the pain that you are carrying from somebody else, because the longer you stay around this person, the more this person is going to reflect your past. And so you can't be around this person. You may like the person, but you got to separate from them. And so one of the things you do, you try to rescue them. But here is the key, though. When you rescue somebody from something like that, you stop them from growing to the place where they can grow to rescue themselves, or grow to where they don't allow that to happen. You know, but then you say, it's the right thing for me to do, and it's absolutely true. But then there is a cost, because if they say to you, well, no, I got this, and you know that they really don't. I don't know. It's easy for a person to say, well, I feel rejected because this is what I do to people. You know, this is my job. This is what God told me to do. And so now you don't have that. You know, and so you know, every stick has two ends. You know, and it just depends.
I believe that.
You know, what's going on. But yeah. Rescuing, so you want to go in and do everything for this person.
I feel like I've even enabled a lot of my siblings.
Yes. So
to where like I've gone through a bulk of the things that I didn't necessarily want them to go through. So when I was seeing them kind of go through some of those experiences, I was trying to like, you know, jump in and kind of, you know, help in a way in which I feel like I did them a disservice.
Right. Well, let me tell you this here. I don't know you. I'm not seeing you, but I'm hearing you. And I'm going to say this, that at some level, your parents did an amazing job of raising you.
Yeah.
They did. They did an amazing job of raising you. And here's how they did that. They did that they didn't stop you from stubbing your toes. They didn't stop you from bumping your head. And they didn't stop you from a whole lot of things, okay? And because they didn't rescue you from those experiences that were not necessarily life-threatening, okay? You learned how to navigate your way around things that reminds you of getting your head bumped and bumping your knees and all that. You now begin the process of taking care of yourself. And that's how you grow to have this kind of a stalwart internal component here, where you become strong internally. And you know, so if we rescued our children will become dependent on us and society for the rest of their lives. And then we're saying to ourselves, wait a minute, why is this person 35 and acting like they're 10 or 5? Because we've been rescuing them all the way up to that. So now they want an environment that rescue them. They're 35. Dude, how come because nobody taught me?
Yeah.
And
yeah,
they didn't teach me. They didn't teach me by rescuing me. That's the problem.
I think I'll say this for HT. Like, I know her in this realm. And I will say that when I say strong, you know, we use strong all the time, but I'm saying this in a really, really positive way. Okay. Like, you take accountability for it, you stand in it. And like he said, you've done a great job. That's not who you are. So
I agree.
Just the way you talk about it, the way you put it out there for everybody, you don't hide in it. You don't make excuses about it. You know, you set yourself apart from it. So in that sense, you are very strong and you've done very well. And the fact that you can acknowledge that and we see how you are every day, like we're really proud of you.
Yeah.
In
Thank
spite
you.
of.
I
In
agree.
spite
know,
of. So
yeah.
that's amazing.
Thank
You
you.
know, some people call that parental acknowledgement.
Mhm.
Parental acknowledgement is such an important part of the growth and development of children along their growth continuum. You know, it is so important. So yeah, we need to do more of that.
Uh-oh. Hello.
Doctor, I have a question, particularly about the male child. Okay, if a child, particularly a male, grows up with a father
Mhm.
as a narcissist, would you say that the chances of that male child becoming one later on in life is high?
Uh,
And would you suggest therapy for that male child early on to minimize the chances of him becoming a narcissist later on in life?
okay. You know, I can do yes or no, but I like to use anecdotal stories to answer
Mhm.
questions. Okay. So my son and his son, my grandson, and we've been telling our grandson for a long time. I said, man, when you talk, you sound just like your dad. And sometimes my wife and I, we have to figure out who we talking to on the phone, you know, who we
Mhm.
talking to, you know, and we think we're talking to one, but we're talking to the other. And then the other day, you know, they both came to, you know, to visit. And my grandson was talking about, he said, man, he said, Pops, you know, I find myself doing so many things just like my dad. I talk like my dad. My dad is great. And he's
Yeah.
doing all these things, and he's so happy that he looks like his dad, talk like his dad, all of these things. You understand what I'm saying here? We
Yes.
call that social learning, socialization,
Mhm.
with some genetics in there. So the question is, if this child grew up in a home where this man was a narcissist, social learning will become so pervasive, so powerful that he is more than likely to become. Why? Because he is not being exposed to something else other than that he can make a decision to say, I don't want to be like that.
Yeah.
So he defers to that. So there's a strong possibility,
Mhm. Yeah.
that he could become that. Now that when, you know, another child may not take that route because of there's something about them that is more robust and say, well, I don't want to be like this. Well, the other one is saying, but I love my dad. I want to be just like my dad, you know. So there
Yeah.
are a number of ways to kind of take a look at that and even possibly answer that, you know. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay. Now, someone down in the chat mentioned something about narcissism being a chemical imbalance and mentioning medication being required. Would you agree with
Uh,
that?
uh, y'all laughing now. Huh?
I don't know why I think that's so funny. And then also, is it hereditary? They also threw that.
Yeah, that was another question.
Oh my! Listen. I don't know. I don't know if it's a red. Listen.
You weren't ready for this tonight, were you?
No.
Dr.
Listen,
Precious, you know what you got yourself into.
no, I didn't know that. Oh, Lord. Listen. What's supposed to give me the first question again, please? Because I'm
So the first question was, they mentioned that narcissism um, is a chemical imbalance and medication may be required.
you know, I think there are a lot of things that, you know, has its derivative in chemical imbalance. Okay. But again, we got to do the testing to make sure that that's what it is. Or it could be because of emotional trauma. We've got to make sure that that's what it is. It could be from the nexus of that. It could be emotional learning, social learning. So there are a number of ways how a person can come to that. Now, is medication necessary? I think again it will be dependent on the outcome of the test? What are you looking for? Did you find what you're looking for? You know, what kind of a, you know, where are you in this, that, you know, is it medication alone, or is it medication and therapy, you know? Because I think a lot of when people go through trauma or these kind of things that we're talking about, I don't think that medication alone should be it. Why? Because you then develop medication dependency, right?
Yeah.
And you've got to be very careful about the medication dependency. Now, let me tell you this. So let me answer this in another way. I used to do a lot of work with kids, and one of the things about kids, you know, depending on the home environment, you know, these kids would act out in school, and the first thing that the school and the pediatrician want to do is put them on Ritalin. You know.
Oh yes.
You know, and what Ritalin does, it has the capacity. You know, it brings a person down, or it takes a person up. It's the same kind of medication. It can work both ways. But what some of the kids and some of the parents were talking about here is that they were not, they started to begin to lose their focus because of the medication and the medication alone, and that's all they wanted to do. They should have, in my opinion, you know, gone both ways, where one complements the other, and give them a kind of a holistic, systemic sense of their growth and development, because medication alone does not show that you have an interest in the who of the person.
Okay.
Talking to the person is more than likely to say, well, this person is engaging with me, and I'm starting to attach, and so it's easier for me then to do some of the things that this person who I'm attached to in a very positive way, they're asking me to do this, and so we can go down through this. You know, so I think this, you know, with narcissism, if you catch it at an early stage, at a very early stage, I think we can win that battle. I really do think we can. You know, yeah.
And the other question that was thrown out there by a viewer was that, do you feel that narcissism is hereditary?
Again, hereditary to what degree it might be. It might be that it is, but I'm not so sure. I wouldn't know. I don't know how we would test for that, because we have to test the family, and then test the child or the person, you know, to see what are the similarities in all of this.
It could very much be like more so like a learned behavior.
You're right, exactly. Social learning.
Yeah.
So it's a learn behavior. And you know, there is just so much that people learn.
Right.
And once you learn something and it satisfies you, you don't want to give it up.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's possible for someone to trick the psych evaluation?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I listen. Some people can do that very, very well, and this is why it's always a good idea, you know, to you don't repeat the same test, you know, but you may send them somewhere else, you know, for a second opinion. You may say, well, listen, you know, I'm going to send you to so and so for a second opinion, but then listen, if this person has been going through this for a long time, they basically know what the psychiatrist or the tester wants to know, and they know that, and so because they know what they're looking for, they can then manipulate their test, you know, real well. Some people are really good at that, really good, you know.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it's possible. I
Now,
don't know.
Ask a mental health question, just like a check-in with everybody. Like, you know, it's a lot going on in our world today, Dr. Francis.
Yes.
So people are losing their jobs, and they don't know in the morning if they're gonna have a job when they get up. What could you offer us as some type of strategy to cope with what's going on today? Because it's bad.
It is. It is bad. There's no doubt about it. But there are just so many ways to come at this. You know, for some people, I saw on the news the other day that this woman, she was from rural Alabama, when she said she finally got the dream job of her life, and she said, I never thought I would get this job working for the government. And they terminated her. She didn't even unbox her stuff. Her stuff was still in the boxes. Okay. Now, for some people, okay, that to do that, okay, my job means everything to me. It is my life. It's how I project myself, and so to rob that person of that is to take that piece of themselves away. So how do you then go and help them through that? You're no longer looking at the job. Now you are looking at the job represented me. So now so the job is not wounded. I'm wounded because I don't have the job. So now we've got to be very astute and know that if we ask a whole lot of questions about the job, as opposed to what does the job mean, what the job mean. And so believe it or not, when people go through those level of losses, there is place for doing grief work.
Okay.
Grief work, because grief is not about death. Grief is about loss, of which death is a part of loss. So when all these workers who are losing their jobs, they need to go through grief work, because if they don't do their grief work, they're going to act it out on people. And who are they going to act it out on? The people who live in the same house with them and people who are most vulnerable. They are the ones, okay? Or some people, they go into self-harm, so we got to be very careful. There's just so much that's going on in the times that we live in that we don't know how people are going to act out the fact that they lost their job. I had this job, and they're saying, well, you can't do your job very well. Well, so all the people that I know, they're going to say, man, oh, dude couldn't even do his job very well. That's why they fired him. No, that's their excuse. They are protecting themselves. They're protecting them. They didn't give them a specific response, but they are protecting themselves. So yeah, there are just a lot of people now, the job that they lose and their position in their family is now changed because of the income that is not coming in.
Right.
And their position, if they are in a group or a church or whatever it is, and there is a certain level of dependency that other people have on them, those things will change. And so the people who used to be dependent on them can no longer be dependent on him or them. Yeah. And so now their lives have changed. Yeah. So listen, so when you make a change in any one part of a system, the entire system goes through change.
Yeah.
So
just prayer for right now. Just pray and be positive.
But pray and be very positive. And one of the things about being positive is this, that you never want to berate yourself. You never want to come down on yourself. Those are things that are out of your hand. You did not raise your hand for it. Knowing you did not raise your hand for it should give you a sense to say, there are some things that is out of my control. But what I can do is to control how I feel and behave about this thing that's out of control. You understand what I'm saying here? Yeah. I can't control them. I can't control them firing me, but I can control the way I feel about it. And I can control the way I behave about it, and that's taking accountability right there. But yeah, that's a very good question. I don't know. There's going to be a lot of, this stuff here it's going to impact a lot of people at, in terms of their mental health, not mental health like they're going psychotic, but the health, their picture of themselves. Who am I now that I can't even, I've lost my car, I've lost my house. I can't even take care of my wife, my kids. I can't do nothing. I'm going to have to move to another place. And when I move, my kids are going to have to move to a different school. They're going to lose their friends. And now they are going through detachment, and they're going through separation anxiety. They're going through all of these things. You see how one person their key role in a family can make all of these things happen, can make all of these things happen.
All right. All right. Thank you.
All right.
So, Doctor, I'm not sure how much time that you have initially. We were set for an hour, but I did have a few more questions. Are you able to stay, or should we just do this another time?
Can we do this another time? Because listen, y'all wore me out. No, you didn't.
We did.
Listen. I want to come back. I want to come back because at 7:30 I do have another something that I got to do. Okay.
Okay. Well, we would love to have you back. We would love to have you back. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Dr. Francis.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate you, and we would love to have you back. We thank you for coming and speak with us today.
Absolutely.
Before you go, can you just, because I was on your Instagram page and I see that you have a clothing line out. Can you tell the people about that?
Well, we're trying to develop this clothing line, and I'm not able to tell a whole lot about it because I'm not into that part of it, So but we are developing that, and we're and some other things that we want to put into that. But
okay, understood.
Okay, congratulations.
Okay. Well, we're going to be looking out for it so we can support.
Thank you so much, Dr. Francis.
Yes, thank you. Have a good night.
Oh, hold on, Dr. Francis. Can you let the people know where they can find you?
Did he leave? I think he left.
No, he's there.
Oh,
There's something going on with the mic.
Okay. All right. I do thank you. I do thank you. And come on, y'all are laughing at me like y'all just warned me. I'm laughing at me like this.
You probably didn't hear that last part. True T was asking if you could just let the last thing, if you could just let the people know where to find you on your social media.
Okay. All right. Yeah, they can contact me at I'm gonna give you my email address, and then I'll also send you to my website. Okay.
Okay.
My email is Dr. Kit. That's DrKitSpeaks at gmail.com. That's Dr. Kit Speaks at gmail.com. You can also follow me on YouTube. I'm also on YouTube. And also, let me say this, that my website is drkitspeaks.com. Okay? Mm-hmm. So you can follow me on YouTube. Some stuff will show up on Facebook, not as much, but certainly on YouTube. I have a lot of stuff that's posted on YouTube if they want to see some of the work that I've done. But if they want to email me or just get in contact, drkitspeaks@gmail.com. I welcome that. I'd love to talk to different people about different things. And go to my website, drkitspeaks.com.
Okay, and Dr. Kit, one more thing.
Also Instagram. See, y'all wore me out. I don't even know.
We apologize.
We got you.
Okay, go ahead. You're saying something.
No, I was just going to say, do you have a Cash App that you didn't mind dropping so that the people can support you that way as well?
Cash App. I think it's I think
you got to know this now, Dr. Chris.
Okay. Here we go. For sure. 256-656-5.
Wait. Don't do that. That's your personal number?
It's my cell phone. It's my business number.
Okay. I'm sorry. Let's go. I just wanted to protect you.
Or it is okay. Let me give you my Cash App. Gotta give you my Cash App. Okay. It's the $. It's the $. At Kitson Francis. $Kitson Francis. $. KITSONFRANCIS.
Okay. Here for Hati, are you want to pin that in the chat?
Yes.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Go
All
ahead.
right, Dr. Kid, we know you have to go. Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
we will hopefully
Yes.
we'll see you again soon. Thank you. Have a good one.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Have a
All
good
right.
night.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Oh, that was
That
great.
was an
This was
awesome
truly
conversation.
informative.
It was. I enjoyed it.
I did too. It was
I
Thank
hope
you,
we can,
ladies.
I hope we can actually do that again and get some real mental health going.
Yeah. I had so many other questions for him, but we didn't get a chance to get to that. But this was still great. This was awesome.
It was. It really was.
And the people down in the chat are, our viewers, they seem to love it too. Thank you, Millichun and Here for Hati for joining me. I appreciate
Oh,
you.
no problem. No problem. I
Okay.
Thank
enjoyed
you so much. Shout
And
out
thank
to
you,
True
chat.
T.
Shout out to the chat. Shout out to
Yes.
everybody.
Yes, thank you all for joining me. All right, so I know you ladies have to get out here as well, so I'm gonna let you go. Thanks again, and you all enjoy your night. Okay.
Bye, y'all.
Night.
Bye-bye.
All right, y'all. That is going to conclude our interview with Dr. Kit Francis. Okay. Y'all seem like y'all enjoyed it. I know I did. It was very, very informative. Okay. I had so many other questions for him, but that's good that we're gonna get to see him again. All right. So you all can look forward to that. All right. Let's see what some of you all are saying. If you didn't already, can you go ahead and hit that like button to help us push this video out into the algorithm? I appreciate y'all so much. Okay. So now let me go through some of first I want to get to the super chats. I know I missed a couple of them. I appreciate y'all. Southern Girl, Florida, thank you so much for your super chat. Sending my good sis True T love and support. I'll watch the replay, just getting off work. I appreciate you, girl. Thank you. I hope you enjoy the interview. Amanda, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate you. Jackie Wilson Rudy, thank you so much for the super sticker. She says, thanks, True T and panel. Great job. Thank you. I'm glad you all enjoyed it. Glad you all enjoyed it. Another super sticker. Thank you, Jasmine Smith. You know that I appreciate you. Okay. I have another super sticker from Drop the T. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. All right, let me just make sure I've got them all. I don't want to overlook anybody. All right, these are a lot of comments. I don't know if I'm gonna make it through them, but you know what? I'm gonna drop the link and give you all about maybe 10 minutes to come up and say anything if you want to. If not, I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna try to come back later on tonight and chat with you all. Okay. Give me a second here. All right, there's a link for anyone who wants to come up. I'll give you a couple of minutes. Golden Life says, now this is what a real professional looks like with credibility, unlike some others that we have seen. Absolutely. Absolutely. We needed to get a real therapist on board, okay? A real one. I'm thankful that Dr. Kit Francis came up here and, graced us with his knowledge. Southern Belle says, True T, this was amazing. Great bringing Dr. Francis on. And you, Here for Hati and Millichun, have great chemistry. Thank you so much. I feel like we do too. Yeah. All Things Possible, thank you so much for your super sticker. I appreciate you. Let's see. 1 second. Jazzy Lady says that was awesome. True T, very informative. I'm glad you all enjoyed it. I'm glad. Anitra says this was absolutely amazing. He described in detail everything that we have been witnessing on LAMH with social media. Absolutely. I'm glad y'all. Yes. Okay. Yes, yes, and yes. All Things says, yes, this was awesome. Thank you, ladies. You're absolutely welcome. PK Joe said, y'all done wore Dr. Francis out. Love him. Great show, ladies. Thank you so much. Yeah, we wore him out, child. He had to get him out of here. Well, we gonna have him back and wear him out again. Southern Belle says, I love this. You ladies really are a dream team together. Thank you so much. All right, it's looking like I've gotten all the super chats. I've addressed some of the questions. Doesn't look like anyone wants to come up right now. So I'm going to get ready to head on out. Thank y'all so much for joining us over here. Okay, I appreciate y'all. All right, if you're not following me on all of my platforms, please consider doing so. I'm on X, I'm on TikTok, and I'm on Instagram. And you can find me on all three platforms at ms_TrueT. I have my Cash App if you want to donate to the channel. It's the $TrueT911. And I have PayPal and Venmo. What else is there? Yeah, so make sure you look out for another video later on tonight. And I believe that's going to be it. And don't forget to like the video once again. I appreciate y'all, okay? I will chat with y'all in the next one.